Major banks. What does each bank lend on apartments? Andrew Murray, apartment specialist, talking about all the different banks and why how they lend on apartments is different to houses. Now, first of all, when you're looking to buy your first home, a bank will lend up to 80% on the value of that home. So you can have a mortgage which represents 80% of the value of that home. Now, when it comes to apartments, yes, that's the same, but only to a certain size. And where it gets complicated is that each major bank in New Zealand has different criteria, which is ever changing. So, for example, BNZ was 40 square metres. So if you had an apartment, you found an apartment that was 40 square metres, they would lend 80% of that value as a mortgage. Well, they just recently put it up to 50 square metres. So that means now you can't get 80% for your loan. So what does that mean if you're below these sizes for the banks? So that means these sizes that I'm going to be mentioning, if they are the size or above, that means you can get an 80% mortgage. Now, if it's below, that means I'll only lend you 50%. Okay, so I'm just going to run through the major banks here, and if you forget what I've said, because I know I do talk fast from time to time, as there's a table down below or underneath this podcast with the actual criteria. So, for example, if you're looking at Westpac, okay, you can get an 80% mortgage on 50 metres squared or larger. Now that does not, these sizes do not include decks or outdoor courtyard areas. It's only the internal area. So Westpac is 50 square metres, BNZ is 50 metres squared again, and yes, that's the one I mentioned, it was 40 metres squared and has now changed. ASB is 40 metres squared, so that's the lowest. Then you've got Kiwibank, which is 50 metres squared. Then you've got ANZ, which does it slightly differently, which is 45 metres squared for a one bedroom and 55 metres squared for a two bedroom. Now, as I mentioned, this criteria is ever changing. The best way to actually get on top of it is not to go directly to a bank, because that particular bank will tell you, well, that's how it is, when every bank is different. It's actually better to go to a mortgage broker who specialises in apartments, and they keep up to this criteria, this criteria every minute of the day, because that's what they do. And they'll match you with a bank that best suits what you're trying to do. So what bank is best for you. Now, I hope that helps. It does get a little bit more complicated than that, and the mortgage broker will explain that to you, i.e. some banks will not lend to certain buildings because they're exposed too much, i.e. they're lent to too many people in that building, or they may have some buildings they just don't like for sometimes no reason at all. But a mortgage broker will help you there. But that's a good overall, and I hope that's helped. Cheers. Bye.